conversation with Romal Shetty, the CEO of Deloitte South Asia. Thank you very much, Romal, for talking to Moneycontrol. AI is a big theme this time at Davos, and I think Deloitte as well has conducted a survey on Gen AI. What are the key findings there? What are CEOs telling you, CIOs telling you?
I think first is clearly in the boardroom, there's a lot more conversation around AI than ever it was. So every boardroom that we go in. Second, what's happening is from an AI perspective, I think a lot of focus has been on productivity, on cost reduction and other things. So significant in terms of that. Not so much significant when it comes to product innovation, business model changes as such still. So I think that's the shift that is happening. So nearly 70% are really focusing on AI in terms of productivity. Third is AI. Also, which companies are investing in AI in terms of skilling, they seem to be the one who are most fearful, but also who are most optimistic about how AI can change their businesses. There are a few who are still only talking about AI and not really doing much. And this is, of course, this is across the world. The other bit, the concern of AI is also around the trust or ethics, because what's important is today is that when an AI is being built, it's not after the AI model is built that you incorporate trust. You incorporate trust during the entire thing, because a simple small calculation incorrectly can cause havoc as well. So I think that is something that is happening in AI. So yeah, those are a few things on AI, but it's really it's probably the hottest area that is being spoken by anybody and everybody.
Right. Romal, Deloitte has also significantly been ramping up its presence in India. And I think GCC is a big trend that we are seeing. It's taken off in a huge way. So tell us about your own hiring plans in India. How big is Deloitte going to be? What kind of businesses are you betting big on?
Yeah. So Deloitte in India is about 120,000 people, right? We are, and which is about 25% of the global workforce of Deloitte. We believe that in the next 3 to 4 years, we will be 30% of the global workforce. So probably closer to 150 to 160,000 people. So we are hiring significantly. Some of the areas, obviously, where we are looking at is, you mentioned about AI. AI clearly is a very big area. Second is all in renewables and energy. That I think is one of the largest opportunities as well. Similarly with, for example, cloud and digital and cyber. Those are also some significant areas. We've also invested a lot in M&A because we believe that India is going to see a host of M&A that is going to happen. Foreign partners wanting to come into India, Indian partners going overseas, including within. And with the work that we're doing with various state governments, we see a lot more focus on bringing investments into the country. So I think those are few areas that we are focusing on.
Right. In fact, Deloitte's forensic audit practice also seems to have really gathered steam. A lot of, startup audits seem to be, done by Deloitte. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, see, Deloitte's always had a very strong forensic practice. I think I always joke that we're always in business because something or the other is happening. But the one important thing, Chandra, and we're at Davos, and one of the important things from an India perspective is when investors come in from outside. While the India story is fantastic, I think we're standing out compared to every other country. But the trust levels of Indian companies are not as much. There are few companies that are a handful where investors would be very happy to have a joint venture partnership. So the trust levels are a bit low, and that is because I think we haven't done as much on governance as we should be doing. Right. So number of companies are really doing, and
when you say trust level is low, do you mean the old economy companies, new economy companies?
It's across. It's across. But from a startup perspective, I think good startups, great progress, but we've also had some governance failures. And I think governance is very critical because some of these are, most of them are unlisted, so there are no rules and regulations specifically. So I think it's important that these companies with great ideas also invest tremendously in governance. I think that is important because that is what will give a lot more confidence, and the startup ecosystem is very important for the country to progress. So So that's why our forensic practice is also, in business, because sometimes when you have governance failures, then, we're called upon to understand. But I think the proactive thing is to really have good, the investors, the management team actually have a good corporate governance standards that they follow.
Right. Romal, I also wanted to ask you, you took charge as the CEO of South Asia just a while ago, and I think you're one of the youngest CEOs for Deloitte in India. So how's the transition been? There were reports that, you've given gardening leave or early retirement for 36 of your senior partners. So what is your thinking there? What other changes are you going to bring in terms of management, people management?
So one of the, I think that the Deloitte has a great leadership succession process. So this process is not like 1 month. It's actually like a 8-9 month process. There is a transition that actually happens. So from my predecessor Venkat to me. So I think there was a proper transition that actually happened. So one of the focuses has been a lot around culture. A lot around culture, a lot around happiness. I think I'm one of the first CEOs to have a chief happiness officer as well, focusing on 2 or 3 things really about mental and physical health, diversity, but not just gender, but also in terms of financial strata and other neurodiversity. And then, of course, just joy in working. As professional services firms, we're always under some kind of stress. Clients want something which is, they want it pretty fast. But to bring a little bit more joy in what they do, I think is important. So we focused a lot on that. Now, coming to your specific question, we've have a early retirement scheme which we announced for our partners who are 58 years and above, and a number of them wanted. This was based on their request that they wanted to follow some other passions. They've been in the profession for long, 35 to 38 years. They've been in the profession. They wanted to do something on their own, pursue their passions, and I think that's, as a firm, we said okay. They've done great service, because where Deloitte is today is because of their contributions. And I think we sort of put a process together, and they're going to be. We always call in Deloitte a partners for life, and so they're going to be a partner for life. And so this is just one phase of their life.
Right. Finally, Romal, we are weeks away from the interim budget. It's going to be a vote on account. But any expectations at all? I mean, the government has indicated that there's a vote on account, so no big announcements will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably doesn't make sense to make too many changes in the short term, because 3 months time there will be a new government. So I don't think there would really be any major changes. It's better to wait, because I think even if let's assume somebody makes an announcement and 3 months later there's some difference, investors also would want that certainty. But from all perspectives, I think I can just tell you that when I meet a lot of the CEOs in India, and I meet CEOs, multinationals, the Indian companies are not talking about 2x growth. They're talking about 3x, 4x, not in 10 years, in 5 years. I think that mood is quite infectious. Global companies are a little bit more cautious and kind. So I think everybody will wait for the new budget. But the state governments will, of course, be doing some of their budgets, which would incorporate a lot more policies. A lot of the state governments are actually changing their policies to woo investors, which I think is a really good thing for the country.
Right. On that note, thank you so much, Romal.